You know it's this. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowing like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look up the better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the 6th part of, What If Naruto Makes Female Ninja Army? Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of Mad Hat 886 on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. Kin and Taiyuya were still feeling the pain of the battle they found themselves in when everyone fought over the prince's name tag. They along with the rest of the sound team were in their housing that were given to the girls that are engaged to the prince. One thing about metal that they like was that there's plenty of food to go around, as besides being the biggest producer of metal ores on the continent, metal is also produce vast amounts of food. Largely thanks to the different types of land that could be found in metal that allowed different types of crops and animals to be farmed. The women who hang up their Delmo gear use their skills to help crops do better and grow much quicker than they would have by themselves. Bread, olives, olive oil, and cheese are the staple foods in the diet of metal. The poor people received free bread from the city, which meant that vast quantities of grain had to be imported, largely from the rich fields of the eastern metal. I gotten word back from Orochimaru, Kimimaro said, entering the room as the rest of the sound nin sat eating lunch. Is he mad that the girls couldn't get the name tag? Zuka asked, earning him glares from said girls. You try to fight against a horde of fan girls all trying to get the same thing, Kin growled. And not to mention that with the guards and Delmos around we couldn't do anything that would really hurt them, Taiyuya said. Even if I use my seal to full power, there's no way that I'd be able to stand up to even the weakest woman there. I never thought that the gap between us and the Delmos would be that wide, Dosu said, taking a bite out of a loaf of bread. Which is why we've been busy finding people who we can sign up for the village, Kadamura said. Yes, Orochimaru is pleased about the people we've been able to sign up for the village, but is displeased about the lack of getting close to the prince, Kimimaro said. Well, it's not our job, Jirobo said, glancing at his female teammates. Maybe if the girls would step it up, Sakan said. His brother Yukon was inside of him. Hey, you have any idea how hard it is to get close to him? Kin asked. Me and Taiyuya have been doing our best, but we have to compete with hundreds of other girls who are doing the same thing. Not to mention those maids and guards of his are always by his side, Taiyuya adds. But since he told those girls off, he's been under the guard of his late mother's body double. And there's no way. I want to see how powerful she is. Yes, I heard about how powerful the prince's mother was, and her body double would be stronger in order to protect her, Zuka said. Me and Taiyuya will just have to do things the slow way and gain his trust, Kin said before grinning. Besides, no matter what happens, the Leaf Village will fall. Another place. Mai and her friend Tai Li were laying around their room of the house they're staying in while in metal. They're both busy as they try to pick out which outfit they should wear for the dance. The telegram they gotten from their parents after they told them they won the dance contest said that they're pleased that they won and hope that this would bring them a step closer to getting close to the prince. Thanks to Tai Li, everyone back home knows about Mai's crush on the prince after his display of power on her during the engagement party. Their guardian was in the room with them, helping them pick the right dress. Sandra Haskins was a woman in her mid-20s with shoulder-length brown hair. Her most appealing features were her big, brown eyes and the sincere smile she gave to everyone as they were introduced. Her loose, white blouse and black wraparound skirt showed off her athletic, hourglass body without showing off too much. She was brought up in a major trade port cities far from metal and didn't have the SXL free outlook as many of the women of metal have. Sandra runs the warehouses that the trade goods from Nanman are shipped till they go out to market, and is close to Tai Li's mother as they made many arrangements between them in more than one way. She agreed to house Mai, Tai Li, and their guards for their stay in metal in exchange for a better cut with Nanman's traders. So much to choose from, Mai said looking over a silk dress. Too bad we don't know Naruto's taste, Tai Lee said looking over the bundles of clothes they're digging through. Well, from what I managed to pick up from the grapevines. He doesn't go for the CC look, Sandra said as she heard too many tales of the prince walking right past young girls all dressed in CC outfits and walked right by them without a blink. Just pick an outfit that looks good, that shows your body but not too much, so that you two don't look like those shameless girls that try to use their bodies on him. Something formal then, Mai said, thinking of using that numb dress her mother gave her before she left. Better think of something that will catch his eye before someone else gets to him first, Tai Lee said, causing her friend to blush. Well, just make sure you don't make yourself too easy or also not too hard to get either, Sandra said. I know many women who bought themselves nothing but trouble by being too playful than playing hard to get. I know play too hard to get and I lose him. And make sure, I tell him what I mean, expecting him to get what I really want, Mai said. Like those love movies, Tai Lee said. When you two are alone and have one of those moments, instead of letting him kiss you, you go and kiss him instead. In another place. Ayam and her sister Kasumi were meeting with Cecilia, her friend Irash, in Himiko's house, having lunch with them along with Sekhmet. Cecilia and her friend Irash were being housed by Hiniko's family so that they have better trade relations with Cecilia's homeland. The two ninja sisters were called in because of their clan is well known for information gathering, and they wanted to get as much information on Naruto as they could before the dance. What do you mean you two can't do it? Himiko shouted at them across the table. Me and my sister are trained to gather information, but there's no way we'll be able to get any new information that isn't already known. Prince Naruto just doesn't show emotions, Ayam said. He has withdrawn into a shell so that he won't be hurt again, Kasumi said. I heard of that kind of stuff before. He's a clear textbook example of emotion shock. He was hurt so much in something he believed in that when it was taken away he closed his heart to the world around him, Cecilia said. The way to his heart is to go and break open his shell, Irash inputs. We just need to have him open himself to us. Then that's what we're going to do. Himiko said. Kasumi, you two are going to gather as much information on how to treat the prince for his problem. And where are we going to find out how to treat mental problems? Asked. How about asking one of those head doctors that treat people with that kind of problem? Sekhmet spoke up, who had been listening to the others. While eating in silence. Fine, Kasumi said. If we help him, it just get us closer to our goal. We must break away his shell, then once his defense is down we'll seal the deal, Sekhmet said in her business tone voice as she always treats everything as a business. Los Iluminados Castle. Ramon Barrigo looked out of the frosted window from atop the tower of his castle. The snow had come early this year and there was no sign it was going to let up any time soon. Snow drifts nearly 20 feet high had accumulated around the outer walls of the castle, making the king a virtual prisoner. Usually at this time of year, the castellan paid visits to his subjects at the nearby villages, extending his harvest greetings and well wishes, along with his usual harvest gifts. The people of his lands always looked forward to seeing their kind and generous castellan, especially at this time of year. Everyone except the young women he fancied and took without a second thought to a back room of the building he happened to be visiting at the time for a romp and SXL release the castellan always craved. However, with the weather so harsh, he was unable to fulfill his yearly self-imposed obligation. This year, the bushels of food and barrels of ale and wine, and his strong SEC drive, would have to wait a little longer to be delivered. Just as the Ramon turned to leave the window, he noticed some movement outside. Wiping the moisture from the glass, he peered out into the bleak snow. Nothing was there. Scanning as far as he could into the never-ending wintry white blanket of snow, he saw nothing. He mumbled, I must be imagining things. Beg your pardon, my lord, came a sweet female voice from across the room. The voice made his tool twitch. After all, it was his favorite wench who was alone in the banquet hall with him. He chose this servant to finish preparing his meal because he knew that at any time he would want to take her, and she would satisfy his carnal urges. She stood about 5 feet 3 inches, with large round melons, a small thin waist and a large rounded bottom. He loved her hourglass figure as she had plenty to offer, plenty of places to F and plenty to hold on to at the same time. Her sky blue eyes and long fiery red hair only made her that much more appealing to him. "Oh, nothing. I just thought I saw something from outside, but I believe it is my mind playing tricks on me, wishful thinking I guess," the Ramon said, still searching for a hint of movement outside the window. "Yes, my lord," replied the voice. Turning from the window, the Ramon surveyed his banquet hall. This year, it would be empty except for himself, his wife and their faithful servants. The scent of a large pine tree filled the room as it stood in the corner, adorned with brightly colored pieces of fruit as ornaments, thin strands of silk draped over the tips of the branches reflecting the flames of the fire, and the candles spread throughout the hall. Brightly decorated baskets and wooden toys surrounded the bottom of the tree. He had made sure everything would have been ready should any of his guests arrive, but for this harvest, the gifts would sit until the children of the nearby village would be able to travel to the castle. And the women would be allowed another day or two of peace before he arrived to exert his power and dems over them. After all, since he is one of the few males around, he had to make sure that there would be new life for the villages. For generations the VERYYYY males had fathered many in the nearby villages, since there were always more women than men around, with the Delmo bloodline popping up all over the place. The emptiness of the banquet hall only served to remind him of the extreme horniness he was feeling. By this time last year on harvest time, he would have already had his way with half a dozen women or more, and the majority of his female servants. The only ones that he had not royally were either too old for his liking or too large. The king liked his women on the petite side, and young. He so looked forward to harvest time, and this would be the first year that the halls of the castle would not ring with the sounds and voices of children, and cries, and of the women. He was returning his attention to the noises in the banquet hall. Ramon quietly stood watching as his faithful and devoted servant finished setting out the evening meal. "Ah dear, there you are," Belit, his wife, said as she enters the room. "This harvest isn't going to be much fun without the villagers or Sekhmet around." "Yes, it's too bad," Ramon said. "But she has important work to do. With her team being the ones who will be dancing with the young prince, she'll need to do all she can to catch his eye." "Baitor's Rokake must be streaming about that," Belit smiled. Their two factions had been at arms against each other since the early days of metal. While VERYYYY dealt with problems like a business, the Rokake dealt with problems in a more underhanded way. More than once anyone who stood in their way was found dead, while anyone who stood in the way of a VERYYYY soon found themselves penniless. But that all changed when the late queen came to power. She had all supports of either faction thrown out of office or beheaded, and then she went after the heads of the factions. Both factions' blood flowed through their halls as the soldiers sent were given orders to kill off both for good. The only reason why both Ramon and Baitors were still among the living was because they were sent to schools outside of metal at the time and didn't dare to return till the old queen died. "It's been a long hard battle at regaining our lost power," Ramon said as he had to rebuild the power base that his family had lost. "But if our daughter can get the prince to fall for her, our family will gain all and more of the power we use to wield. If not, she still can become his close friend and it will be easy to get deals down with them being friends. Always make a backup plan," Belit said as she had already told her daughter if all else fails, she must find a way to have SEC with the prince so that she'll bear him a child that would be the heir of metal by blood right. In Leaf Village. The Hokage felt himself getting older as he read the telegram from Tswanda to the council on her latest report on Naruto. The last report was the failed attempt of winning a dance with Naruto, as almost every girl at the school was fighting for the same thing. The only Leaf girls that were hurt were Ayam because she didn't attend the event, and Hinata, who had the help of a half-Neanderthal girl Hinako whose massive strength beat back the girls attacking them. The council all were disappointed that the Ino had the name tag but was beaten by the Nanman girl Mai, who took it from her just as she was about to win. But this latest report is far worse than the last. Naruto knows that both me and Jiraiya are his godparents. It has sealed both of our fates. He plans on having me tied to a post and watch as the villages burn. As for Jiraiya, he hasn't said of his plans for him yet. When I asked him how could I earn his forgiveness, he told me to go back to the Leaf Village and kill every last child under the age of 10. He already knew that I wouldn't do it, as he said that all I would do is drink to forget my troubles, as Jiraiya does everything he can to stay away from the village. He said that while his grandparents didn't know he was even alive, both of his godparents knew and did nothing for him as he was growing up. When I begged for a way to make everything that I haven't done for him, he told me, "No, I do not. I only want you to die." Everything that we thought we know about him was nothing more than what we knew about the mask he wore to hide his pain. Both me and Jiraiya should have been there for him, but we didn't care enough to bother. We only care now, because we have to. If it wasn't for him being the Prince of Metal, both he and I would never cared enough to even check up on him. I've been looking at myself in the mirror and hating what I have become. Jiraiya, you've been away from the village hunting for information on Orochimaru and Akatsuki, since both would have used Naruto in some way or another, but you may have been thinking of doing what's right for Naruto in the long run. You failed to help him in the short run. What were you planning on doing? Return to the village once he was all grown up and telling him you're his godfather who protected him by searching for enemies outside of the village while letting the ones inside make his life hell? You have no idea who he is, and at that point wouldn't need you or even want you. You're nothing but a failure in the most important thing that you had, being his family. Both Minato and Kiko would be so disappointed in you, as they would be with me. We ruined his life because we weren't there for him when we were needed the most. Now he doesn't need us or want us. And I don't blame him for not wanting us. You all should also know that the only reason why he's allowing the Leaf Girls remain on the engagement is because he wants us to have false hope as he had with the village in accepting him as a person. He only wants us to die clinging to a hope that isn't even there. Sarutobi read from the paper to everyone in the room. I never imagined he would end up like this, Jiraiya said, breaking the silence of the room. Well, I hope that you're all happy with yourselves, Sarutobi said. I can say that, I made many mistakes in the past with Naruto, but it's nothing compared to all of yours. None of you even tried to see him more than the fox his father sealed inside of him. There has to be something that we can do, Hinata's father said. How? Jiraiya asked. The only family he has in this village is me and Swanda, if you can even call us that. I didn't know how to handle raising a child, so I took the easy way out. I search around to look for clues of Orochimaru and Akatsuki to protect the village and Naruto. But I never even tried to be his family when he needed one. I'm to blame for how he is now. Cold, uncaring of others, using them only if it helps him in some way. What do we do? One of the clan heads asked. Wait and hope for the best. That's all we can do, Sarutobi said, as he knows that once this news gets out the village would fall deeper into darkness as the light of hope that they all cling to, isn't even there. In the element countries, the Metal Army is one of the finest fighting forces ever created. The Metal Army are professional. This meant its troops are paid for being soldiers. Legionary foot soldiers are the main force of the army. Those highly trained citizens served for 25 or 26 years. They had to be fit and strong and able to swim and ride as well as fight. If they were not killed, they retired as wealthy and respected. The efficiency of the Delmos was amazing, and the work that would have taken most people hours to do only took the Metal Army about 10 minutes. Every Delmo knew exactly what to do, and there was no time wasted in doing it. These were not foes to take lightly on the battlefield. So much so that they didn't even bother to hide themselves for others. The Nins of the hidden villages have been watching them as they marched through the element countries. Some even made contact, as none of them but the Leaf Nins had to fear them. But there are also two members of a hidden group that also watched the army. Itachi Uchiha had graduated at the top of his academy class at age 7, had mastered the Sharingan by age 8, became a Chunin at 10, and became an ANBU squad captain at the age of 13. Itachi was considered the best ninja among his clan. His father, who took an active interest in his son's career, said Itachi was the pipe that connected the clan to his village. As a result of his father's involvement in Itachi's life, Itachi's little brother, Sasuke Uchiha, was neglected. Itachi watched over Sasuke to a degree, convincing his father to spend time with Sasuke, such as attending Sasuke's entrance ceremony into Konoha's ninja academy, which required a guardian to be present. This changed after a confrontation between Itachi and his father. After the apparent suicide of Shisui Uchiha, who was believed to be Itachi's best friend, by drowning, Itachi was approached by 3 of his fellow clan members and questioned about the incident. Though they didn't state it outright, they considered him a suspect since both the circumstances surrounding the suicide and the suicide note seemed off. Angered, Itachi confronted the 3 and forced them to admit the truth. One of them mentioned that Itachi began behaving strangely about half a year after he joined ANBU. After a threat by one of the 3, Itachi assaulted and effortlessly defeated all of them. In response to this, it was revealed that Shisui was told to keep an eye on Itachi due to his strange behavior. After being confronted by his father about his behavior, Itachi responded that he'd lost all hope for this pathetic clan, but apologized regardless when asked to stop by Sasuke. Not long after this incident, Itachi slaughtered his entire clan except for Sasuke, who had been at the academy during the slaughter. Sasuke returned home shortly after everyone was killed and found his brother standing over the bodies of their parents. When questioned on his motives by Sasuke, he claimed it was to test his ability. He revealed he purposely played the part of the loving older brother as a way to test Sasuke's potential. Itachi also confirmed the truth of the suspicions that he had murdered Shisui in order to gain the Mangekyo Sharingan, for which killing one's best friend is a requirement. He then departs, telling Sasuke that he wasn't worth killing, and that if he wants to kill him he must spend his life hating him and acquire the Mangekyo Sharingan. Itachi mainly uses ninjutsu and genjutsu during battle, both of which are augmented by his Mangekyo Sharingan. In the former, Itachi's Mangekyo Sharingan allows him to use Amaterasu, a jutsu which creates black flames that are hotter than the sun and can penetrate any barrier. He also uses basic ninjutsu at such a speed that even another Sharingan user has trouble following the movements. With his Sharingan, Itachi is virtually immune to his opponent's genjutsu, simply reversing it back upon them using the copy abilities of the Sharingan. With the Mangekyo Sharingan, Itachi can also use Tsukuyomi, a genjutsu which traps his opponent in an illusionary world. Itachi can then torture his opponent for days on end, all of which takes place in the blink of an eye in the real world. Though the main strategy to avoid the Sharingan is to avoid eye contact and focus on Itachi's feet or body, even this is not a certain method of evading his techniques. By merely pointing at an opponent, Itachi can catch them in a powerful genjutsu. Then there is, Kisame has a distinctive shark-like appearance, complete with pale blue skin, small white eyes, gill-like facial structures, and sharp triangular teeth. Even his name, Kisame, means demon. Shark. Despite his rather brutish appearance and his apparent love for battle, Kisame speaks in a calm and polite manner compared to most of the other members of Akatsuki. Kisame was also one of the 7 swordsmen of the mist and is known as the Scourge of the Hidden Mist. Like the other members, he is somewhat overconfident in battle. He also clearly enjoys fighting and possibly mutilating his opponents. Kisame's main weapon is Samehada, shark skin, a large unique sword of comparable size to Zabuza Momochi's Zanbato. Unlike a regular sword, Samehada is covered in large scales that shave instead of cut, much like a shark's skin, hence the name. It also has the ability to absorb any chakra around it, allowing Kisame to literally cut through his opponent's chakra. The amount that it can absorb is unclear, but it can even consume the demon chakra with no ill effects. Samehada is also a sentient weapon and only allows Kisame to wield it. The amount of chakra Kisame possesses is apparently very large, even by Akatsuki's standards. Kisame has displayed astonishing speed and incredible physical strength. He uses water-based jutsu in combination with his powerful physical attacks. He has also demonstrated the ability to create water from nothing, allowing him to turn any potential battleground into a lake for his other water-based attacks. Why are they here? Kisame asks. The King of Metal, Prince Naruto's grandfather, is heading for the Leaf Village to see the Nin exams as well as seeing the Hokage, Itachi answers. So what's the plan? Without the fox our plan won't work, and the only ones who know how to open a gateway to the demon world are in Metal. Well, maybe the king knows, Kisame said. Yes, he would. But fighting against an army of Delmo Nines and metal soldiers would just end with us dead, Itachi said. We're strong but only by the element country standards, by metal we would rank only a high C at best. How about your bloodline? Kisame asked. Wouldn't do any good. There's a limit to how many people I can use it on, and I have never tried to use it on a Delmo, so I have no idea if it would work at all, Itachi said. They might be able to draw enough power to overload my blood limit. Well, we could always try to find Butcher, Kisame said. He's up to something, and if we can find him, maybe we'll be able to work together. If he doesn't kill us first, that is, Itachi adds. The sound of blades clashing together echoed across the training field of the Praetorian Guards as the two strongest swordmen dueled to see who's stronger. Dracul, Hawkeye, Mihawk was facing off with Sephiroth as the other captains and soldiers of the Praetorian Guard watched from the sidelines. Sparks flew as the two swords clash at breaknecking speed. Neither of them could find an advantage to use, as each one are MSTRs at swordplay. Kion and Mihoshi were with Shasti as they watched the duel. Kion was studying the two fighters' moves as Mihoshi cheered them on. Shasti was also studying their moves, as she, like Kion, knew that by watching that she could learn a lot of how MSTRs fight. Not to mention watching Sephiroth's body in action didn't hurt either. Go get him! Mihoshi shouted, cheering on Sephiroth from the sidelines. I can barely see their swords, Kion said, as she, like most of the other guards, could only see blurs as the two sword masters swing their blades around. Use your chakra to enhance your eyes so you can keep up, Shasti said, as she has mastered the skill of sight jutsus, allowing her to see better since she lost one of her eyes. Thanks, Kion said, doing as she had said. I haven't seen Sephiroth fight like this in a long time, Shasti said. She has seen firsthand how skilled and powerful he is, and this is one of the few times that she had seen him struggling. Not since Cloud stopped dueling with him, Kion said. Cloud was one of the few who could fight Sephiroth on an even level. Why did he stop? Mihoshi asked. His wives didn't want him to fight in a duel anymore. They don't want him to spend all of his time just training himself to beat Sephiroth anymore. Since Aerith and Tifa want him to live for more than being the best sword fighter. Which is why Aerith and Tifa have been having SEC with Cloud whenever they have time to. Aerith has been trying to have a child for a year now, while Tifa still wants to serve with Turks for a few more years before becoming a mother, Shasti explained. Yeah, many of my soldiers had to leave time to time once they had a child on the way, Kion said, as it's one reason why the soldiers are routed every 3 months, to take in the fact that some of them would want to be mothers. Which was one reason why they fight so hard, was because they had something important to protect. Sure, it works with men too, protecting their family. But for the women of metal, instead of just thinking of just their family, they see all the metal women as their family. Since there are so few men to be found in metal, many women shared a husband with 2 or more other women. Because of that, the women of metal had a sisterhood that's like a pride, and they would protect everyone within the pride. They just didn't think about the safety of their family but of others as well. Most soldiers, when it comes down to it, will run from battle in order to protect their own family instead of doing what was needed to do. I hope to be a mother one day, Mihoshi said. A clang echoed through the air as Mihawk's and Sephiroth's blades were broken apart by a third weapon, a pickaxe. The owner of the weapon was Sam, the strongest warrior of her generation. Everyone was in awe, as she is well known for her strength and skill in the battlefield. Her weapon of choice was that of the pickaxe, a weapon that was also a tool. Sorry to spoil your fun, boys, but it's time for my match with Sephiroth here, Sam smirks at the two. Sam, I'm in the middle of a duel, Sephiroth said. Really? Sam said as she glanced at Mihawk. He just managed to block her pickaxe at a speed that surprised him, to say the least. You're not bad. You're not bad yourself, Mihawk said, feeling his sword shaking from the blow like a tuning fork. Your black sword is said to be the strongest, but I'm betting a few more blows from my pickaxe will break it, Sam said. If you don't mind, I would like if you didn't. I just had my sword fixed from the last duel, Mihawk said, as his sword had needed to be fixed after the last duel. His sword was strong, but seeing the damage to his sword, he knows that he should have a metal blacksmith to reforge his sword using the better ores found in metal. Then your match with Sephiroth is over then, Sam said. Yes it is, Mihawk said, knowing to anger the strongest warrior of metal wasn't the smartest thing to do. She had earned her title and knows that he might be able to beat her, but at a high cost to him. I keep telling you that, I'm not interested in any relationship right now, Sephiroth said. Well then, I guess that, I just have to keep beating you till you agree, to go out on a date with me, Sam smiled. The duel was just getting good, Naruto said, walking up to them. He had been watching the duel between the two strongest swordsmen in the world when it was suddenly stopped. By his side was Setsuna. Oh Prince, you were watching? Sam asked, greeting the prince for the first time. Those fox ears and tail sure make him look cute. Yes, I wanted to see how far I have to go before I reach their level, Naruto explains. Well, you have a way to go, Sam said, planting the end of her pickaxe into the ground. You still have a way to go, Prince. It took your mother a while to be as strong as she was. Besides, you shouldn't just train yourself, you need to enjoy life while you're still a kid. I never had that option of being a kid, I had to be an adult instead, Naruto said, flatly walking off with Setsuna mentioning to him about a study date with one of his teachers. Wow, Sam said, realizing how deep the scars are in him. She has seen plenty from her field work and visiting old soldiers. Their scars are deep, but their pride wouldn't let them seek help till it was too late. I heard he was bad, but this isn't what I thought it would be. Yes it is, Sephiroth said. And that's why we need to help him, or we're just going to have a repeat of his great-grandmother's rule. The Leaf has much to pay for. Don't worry. Our king is seeing to that, Sam said. The Leaf Village. Jiraiya gasped for breath as he was held by his arms between two gold delmos in front of his old friend Hunroch. His body was broken, covered in cuts, bruises and discolored welts. From his eye that he could still see from, he looked up at the stone face of Hunroch, the grandfather of his godson, which was in name only. The Delmo army had marched into the village and had taken over. None of the ninjas were up to fighting strength, even if they were, they wouldn't stand a chance against the Delmos or the metal soldiers. Well? Hunroch asked him. How do you feel? I mean, this is what Naruto had to deal with for all of his life till he was old enough to defend himself. You're hurting right now, but it's nothing to what you left Naruto to face. You were just too self-centered to even care for him when he needed it, all so you can write your books. Tell me, with what's going to happen once he's king, was it worth it? Was it worth it knowing what's going to happen? No, it wasn't, Jiraiya said, looking down. I just ran away from my responsibility. As I told you before when we last met and you went off peeking on women. Is that you have to take responsibility for your actions, Hunroch said as he looks at the two women holding him up. Break his hands. The two nodded as they each grab his hands into there and snap them in several places. Jiraiya screamed as he was let go, falling to the ground holding his now useless hands close to his body. He would never be able to use jutsus anymore now that he couldn't use his hands right anymore. Or let alone hold something as a pen without it slipping. Hunroch looked at the crowd of leaf villages that had gathered around the Hokage tower to watch. He picks out Sarutobi standing in the crowd. You all are going to have to take responsibility for your actions against my grandson. I know what you're all thinking, you're going to try to bribe me to sway my grandson's hand. But what reason should I do that? What has this village ever done for him except to cause him pain? I have no reason to help any of you for what you all have done to him. And you don't deserve a hero like my son-in-law. The face of Minato on the Hokage mountain blew up by several powerful jutsus, raining rubble onto the buildings close to it. The leaf villagers all look up to see where their hero's face once stood. Nothing remained but rubble. None of you deserve to be forgiven for your sins, Hunroch said coldly to the villagers. This is only the beginning of things to come. The Leaf Village was in a sorry state as the Metal Army, since they gotten there, have been looting the village. They were busy taking what they wanted from the houses and buildings of the village. The clan homes were also being strp as their scrolls and family weapons were taken. They couldn't fight back as the army of metal are too strong for any of them to take. Those that did try were quickly beaten to a bloody mess that were barely alive. Their king Hunroch was in the Hokage tower going through the files and scrolls that were kept there, being guarded by several white Delmos and soldiers. Sarutobi was bound to a chair breathing heavily as he was trying to recover from the torture he was put through. The Delmos information unit had worked him over. They peeled off his skin and rubbed lemon mix with salt, then they would use healing jutsus to heal him. From there things only gotten worse. His bones have been broken a number of times only for them to be healed to be broken. His flesh having been burned or frozen only to be restored to normal. And his mind was ripped apart only to be brought back to normal by the mind breakers of the group. Why are you doing this? Sarutobi asked. Are you really that dense not to figure out why? I'm having your village looted by my troops and my grandson's tormentors be on the other end? Hunroch asked. No, I know what we done and nothing we can do will make up for it, but why are you kicking us when we're already barely standing? Sarutobi asked. Oh, you mean why, I'm having an already weakened village become even weaker? Hunroch asked. The answer is to make it an even easier target once my grandson comes for his revenge. But in the state that you'll leave us, we won't even be able to fight back even at half strength. The village will be nothing but a shadow of its former self. What kind of victory would that be for Naruto? Sarutobi asked. You really think that Naruto doesn't know what I'm doing here? Hunroch asked. Everything that's happening is his will. He told me before I left that he wanted me to do this to the Leaf Village. Kicking the dog while it's down, as they say. Why would he want that? Doesn't he want to prove he's stronger than us? Sarutobi asked. You still think you know my grandson, don't you? I have seen what he is now. He doesn't care about proving anything to anyone in this village, all he wants is for everyone here to scream as they're thrown into fire pits alive. It be like how this village ganged up on one little child. He wants all the suffering he went through that you could have stopped if you really did cared for him, to be felt by everyone here. Then only then, once the last sparks of life have been crushed, will his rage die. I seen what he's becoming and it scares me, Hunroch said. Then why aren't you stopping him? You know what happens to people like that once their rage has been spent. They either become heartless or lose the will to go on once there's nothing left for them, Sarutobi states. I'm hoping for that last part, Hunroch said to a surprised Sarutobi. Once his rage is spent and his will to live is gone, is when the healing can finally start. He is like an old forest with many dead and rotting trees, his scars and wounds run deep. The only thing that will save him is for the forest to be burned down to the ground. Once the ash has settled, me and his grandmother can plant the seeds that will help him grow into the person he was meant to be. You knew what he was going through, thinking that it didn't matter as long as he would protect the very village that wanted to kill him. Well, once you watch this village burn and all the people killed, leaving you the only one to live in a village that should have been a place that Naruto could have called a home, well, you'll have plenty to think about once you're the only one from this village left alive. There has to be another way, Sarutobi said. Why do you people think that saying sorry once the damage has been done would ever make up for something like this? Hunroch asked. How do you talk to someone who doesn't understand friendship? How do you talk to someone who doesn't understand compassion? How do you talk to someone who doesn't understand love? This is what my grandson is. He just doesn't understand what anything but cruelty thanks to what this village has done to him. His mind is twisted, his dark thoughts now running free now that he doesn't have to hide behind that fool mask he once wore. The only hope for him is for him to burn himself out so that he can start healing. I hope you're happy with yourself for letting this happen. I couldn't place anyone ahead for the sake of the village, Sarutobi said. You're nothing but a broken record repeating the same thing over and over again. For the sake of this village you made my grandson into a monster. The only thing stopping him from unleashing that side of himself is the faint hope that in metal he could find something to fill his empty heart. But you won't ever say that it's your fault, will you? You'll just keep on going on about the village welfare takes place ahead of anyone. Well, how about someone who has and will destroy this village you hold above all else? Hunroch asked, glaring at the old fool in front of him. Sarutobi looked downwards, muttering. It was to protect the village. Just as, I thought, Hunroch said. I have invited your old student Orochimaru to the exams as my guest. After the exams are over he'll be taking your grandson with him. No, you can't, Sarutobi said, his eyes wide with fear. Why not? You did the very same to mine. And why should I act as the bigger man here? It's the only way to get it through to you that you had the power to stop all of this if you only had cared enough to help Naruto at the very start, Hunroch said before turning to the Delmos in the room with them. Take him away and be sure to spread the word that he sold his grandson to protect the village to his old student to do as he pleases with him. Yes, my king, a white Delmo said as she and 4 soldiers carried the old fool out. No, please. Hunroch, don't do this. Sarutobi shouted, falling on deaf ears as Naruto's pleas for help had fallen on the same on his for years. Stepping through the gates of the Leaf Village, Orochimaru along with a group of his sound nines entered his old village. His face had a smirk as she looked around at what had become of the village. His old friend, Hunroch, and his soldiers really did a number on the village. Even if the butcher had attacked and defeated almost all the ninjas of the village beforehand, it's clear that the Leaf never stood a chance. Looking at the Delmo ninjas and soldiers of metal, made him remember what Kiko was like when he was still living in the village. Minato could never win a fight with her, except for that one time when they first met. So you came early, the exams aren't for another week, Hunroch said, escorted by a group of white Delmos. Well, I thought that you and I can catch up while we wait, Orochimaru said. Hunroch looked over his old friend before saying, I see you used the body-stealing jutsu. Replacing your old body for a younger and stronger one. Yes, I have learned much in my time away from this village. I'm just using my old face so that you'll know who I am, Orochimaru explains. I had a background check on you and it's not that surprising how you turned out. After all, your old teacher and teammates aren't much either, Hunroch said bluntly. So you found out why I left the village, Orochimaru, seeing there's no point in hiding the facts. Using humans in your lab as test subjects. But then again, they're only Leaf villagers that you used, Hunroch said. They are just going to be all killed anyway, Orochimaru said. Don't make any mistake. Try to do anything with one of the Delmos and you are going to be joining your old village's fate, Hunroch stated. I understand, I know where I stand. Besides, once the Leaf falls, a village will need to become the strongest of the element countries. I was planning on attacking during the exams, but that would just take your grandson's revenge away from him, Orochimaru smiled. Oh yes, I also have a present for you. I'm giving you your old teacher Sarutobi's grandson with you after the exams, Hunroch said. And what would I do with him? Orochimaru asked, knowing what Hunroch wanted of him. Show him the same kindness that his grandfather showed mine. Just make sure you drive the point that it's all Sarutobi's fault for what's going to happen to him, Hunroch said coldly. How can I say no? Orochimaru smiled. In metal. Watching from the doorway of the dojo, Howard, the brother of Hunroch, the king of metal, let out a sigh seeing the state that his nephew is in. He has seen people like that before and only a handful are still alive. Naruto is mediating, increasing his control of his chakra. Many young Delmos use this training to better refine their jutsus. Since all Delmos have unlimited energy reserves, the younger ones have to learn how to control the unlimited power they have. Using too much without any control has led to many Delmos dying from the strain of using so much power. Using that much power does make them unstoppable for as long as they continue to pump their bodies full of energy. They can't even feel pain while in this state, no matter what's being done to their bodies. But once they release the power, all the pain and wounds they suffer hit them all at once. Which is why Naruto is being trained in controlling his bloodline. Hello Naruto, I'm your uncle Howard, your grandfather's brother, he introduced himself. What do you want? Naruto asked. I came to sort out the mess that your life is in. My brother and his wife aren't really up to the task of reaching out to you. They do love you but can't really work out how to raise you. They tried treating you as they did with your mother, doing things behind your back for the best for you. But that ended as well as it did with your mother, Howard said. I know they only want to do the best for me. But, I will not stand for them to do things for me without even asking me what I want, Naruto said. You never had anyone there for you, and with how people controlled you before, it's no wonder why you're like this now, Howard said. What am I supposed to act like? Knowing that all my life was nothing more than a lie so that the person I thought was there for me could control me. And the teacher who I thought cared about me hated me, only hiding it. All because my parents used me to seal a demon inside of me before I was even a day old. Naruto asked. No one can tell you how to feel or how you should act. Only someone who went through the same as you can tell you how you should feel and act. But there's no one who has gone through what you have gone through who is still sane or alive that I know of. Well, there is one person who could, if he is the man he used to be, as I think he is. But he's not someone you ever want to meet, Howard said. I am what I am. I can't be anything else, Naruto said. I think I understand now. The reason why you can't deal with other people. It's not that you don't know how to deal with other people. It's that no one ever took the time to deal with you, Howard said. How can I deal with people when they never want to deal with me? Naruto asked. Naruto, will you give me a chance to deal with you? Howard asked, extending his hand to Naruto. Naruto looked up to his uncle. He's the first person who ever wanted to deal with him, not because he needed to but because he wanted to deal with him. Sure, Naruto said, taking his uncle's hand in his. Howard smiled warmly to his nephew, who took his first step of healing his broken soul. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for more crossovers. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author Mad Hat 886 on FANFICTIONnet. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.